Have you ever scrolled through your phone, or perhaps just looked around at the lives of others, and suddenly felt like your own life simply isn't enough? Someone just bought a new house. Someone else is on a perfect, sun-drenched vacation. Another person seems to have the perfect relationship, the perfect job, the perfect body, or the perfect life. And there you are, sitting in your quiet space, perhaps looking at their lives through a glowing screen, or simply observing from afar and wondering, what's wrong with yours? Why don't you have that? Why aren't you there yet? In that quiet, often painful moment, ask yourself this: are you truly living your life? Or are you unconsciously chasing someone else's? Are you walking your own authentic path? Or are you being constantly pulled by the endless noise of the world, trying desperately to keep up with things that might not even resonate with your deepest heart? Buddhism teaches us that the root of all suffering is attachment, and one of the most subtle yet profoundly dangerous forms of attachment is comparison. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we inevitably lose sight of who we are at our core. We disconnect from our own unique truth, our own intrinsic worth. We start measuring our worth, our progress, our happiness by someone else's journey, forgetting that no two paths are ever truly the same. Just as no two leaves on a tree are identical, no two human journeys can ever be replicated. But here's the profound, liberating truth. No one else can truly live your life. No one else can walk your path. Peace, genuine growth, profound healing, these things don't begin outside of you. Not in the validation of others, but deeply within. They arise from understanding and nurturing your own inner landscape. So if you've ever felt lost in the overwhelming noise of the world, if you've ever found yourself asking, "What's wrong with me?" while looking at someone else's seemingly perfect life, then I invite you to stay with me. This may be the gentle reminder, the quiet turning point your soul has been patiently, quietly waiting for. We live in an unprecedented time, a digital age where it's easier than ever to peer into the lives of others. With just a few taps on a screen or a quick glance at a magazine, we can instantly see what people eat, where they go, who they're with, and what magnificent feats they've achieved. On the surface, this constant visibility often feels like connection. We feel part of a global community, a shared experience. But underneath, for many, it subtly yet powerfully transforms into silent, relentless pressure. Pressure to be more, do more, have more, achieve more, always striving for that next perceived milestone. And slowly, without us even realizing it, we begin to forget who we are. We start to measure our lives, our success, our very worth through external metrics: likes, followers, views, the applause of strangers, the accumulation of material possessions. We begin to chase the image of success, not the deep, fulfilling experience of meaning. Comparison has become a silent epidemic. It doesn't shout its presence, it whispers. It whispers insidious thoughts like, "You're not enough." It whispers, "Look at them. Why aren't you there yet? What's wrong with you?" It shows us someone's chapter 20, their highlight reel, their peak moments, while we're still diligently, perhaps slowly, working through chapter 3 of our own story, and cruelly tricks us into believing we are somehow behind, that we are failing. But here is the foundational truth, a truth echoed in ancient wisdom. There is no race. There is no fixed timeline for the journey of the soul. Your journey is uniquely yours, unfolding at its own divine pace. In Buddhist teaching, we are profoundly reminded that each and every person carries their own unique karma, their own intricate web of past actions and present circumstances. They walk their own distinct path. They operate on their own perfect timing. When we compare ourselves to others, we are essentially judging our deeply personal journey by a map that was never ever made for us. And that unequivocally brings suffering. It's like trying to navigate a forest using a city map. It simply won't work, and it will only lead to frustration and feeling lost. The Buddha once profoundly stated, "There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path." Think about that for a moment. But when we compare, we actively step off our own unique path. We begin walking someone else's road, hoping against all logic that it will magically lead us to peace, to contentment, to that feeling of being enough. And yet, it never does. Why? Because peace cannot be found outside of yourself. It doesn't live in someone else's lifestyle, in someone else's perfect body, or in someone else's monumental achievements. It lives in your presence. It lives in knowing yourself deeply and honoring where you are, truly, right here, right now, with all your imperfections and unique strengths. When we constantly compare, we become profoundly disconnected from our own center, our inner compass. We lose our direction, not because we're not capable, not because we lack potential, but because we've been looking in the completely wrong place for answers. We've been searching for our reflection in someone else's mirror, and that reflection will always be distorted. And here's perhaps the most painful truth of all about comparison. It robs us of gratitude. It subtly steals the inherent beauty of our own life, blinding us to the countless blessings, big and small, that are already abundantly present. We become so focused on what we lack based on what others seemingly have, that we completely miss the richness of our own existence. So the crucial question becomes, how do we stop this cycle? How do we return to our own authentic path and focus on the journey that truly matters, the profound inner journey? That's precisely what we'll begin to explore in the next part of this video. Long before the modern world flooded us with the relentless distractions of social media and the constant temptation of comparison, the Buddha spoke of something timeless and universally true. He taught that the true source of our suffering doesn't primarily lie in the external world, in our circumstances, our possessions, or the actions of others, but fundamentally in our relationship with our own mind. In the profound wisdom of the Dhammapada, a collection of the Buddha's sayings, he declared, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become." This single teaching is the very heart of Buddhist wisdom. It reveals that our entire experience of the world, our perception of reality, doesn't begin outside us, but deeply, intimately, within us. Consider this. You can be surrounded by exquisite beauty, yet still feel a profound emptiness inside. You can possess everything you ever thought you wanted, wealth, fame, status, and still suffer from deep anxiety or discontent. And conversely, you can have almost nothing in material terms, yet feel a profound, abiding sense of peace and contentment. Why is this so? Because your inner state, the landscape of your mind, is what truly shapes your reality. It is the lens through which you perceive everything. The Buddha called the mind the forerunner of all things, the architect of our experience. If your mind is peaceful, tranquil, and clear, then your world, regardless of external circumstances, becomes peaceful. If your mind is restless, agitated, or filled with endless craving and comparison, then your world, even amidst abundance, becomes restless and full of suffering. If the mind is rooted in comparison, in insatiable craving, or in unhealthy attachment, then suffering follows you like a shadow, inevitable and persistent. This is precisely why the Buddha didn't teach us to chase external achievements or to desperately impress others. He didn't advocate for outward striving as the path to liberation. Instead, he taught us to observe, to be still, to see things exactly as they are without the distortion of judgment or the filter of our desires. Because in that profound clarity,
In that unvarnished perception, we begin to truly wake up from the endless illusions our minds create.
He taught that genuine liberation isn't found through frantically trying to change the world outside of us, but through profoundly understanding and transforming our own mind. Not by attempting to control others, but by truly mastering ourselves. Not in a rigid, forceful way, but with gentle, mindful awareness. Let's take a moment right now. Gently bring your attention inward. Notice the constant, often rapid, movement of thoughts within your mind. Perhaps you notice comparisons arising. I wish I had that. I'm not good enough. Perhaps self-criticism, or a deep longing for something different. Simply observe these thoughts, these feelings, without judgment. Just watch them as they arise and pass. And then, in that space of gentle observation, something profound begins to shift. You start to realize that you are not your thoughts. You are not your comparisons. You are the vast, spacious awareness behind them, the silent witness to their coming and going. This is the root. This is the sacred place where true transformation, true freedom begins. When you stop identifying solely with the endless noise of the world and start reconnecting with the deep, abiding silence within, you begin to find your true home. Buddhism invites us to return to the present moment, not just once, but again and again, with unwavering patience and kindness. Not to escape life's challenges, but to see it more clearly, to engage with it more fully, to realize that what we so desperately seek in others, what we believe will complete us, is already, quietly, patiently waiting within ourselves. In a world that constantly tells you to look outward, to seek external validation, the Buddha gently, yet firmly, reminds us, look within. That is where your true freedom lives.
In a world that relentlessly pulls your attention outward, demanding your focus, your energy, and your time, mindfulness emerges as the quiet yet profoundly revolutionary practice that brings you home. Mindfulness isn't about escaping reality. It's not about forcing your mind to be empty, or perfectly calm, or perpetually happy. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's about being fully present with what is, right here, right now, whatever that may be. In the profound teachings of the Buddha, mindfulness is known as sati, which translates to the ability to remember your breath, the constant, gentle rhythm of your life, to remember your body, feeling its presence, its connection to the earth, to remember your simple, undeniable presence in this very moment. Why is this remembering so crucial? Because most of the time, whether we realize it or not, we are not truly here. Our bodies may be in one place, but our minds are often lost in a labyrinth of thought. We are pulled into vivid memories of the past, replaying conversations, reliving regrets, clinging to glories. Or we are catapulted into anxieties and fears about the future, planning, worrying, wanting. And while our minds are racing, our bodies are often sitting in one place, while our minds are running 1,000 miles away, comparing, worrying, wanting, constantly chasing after something perceived to be better. No wonder we feel exhausted. No wonder we feel lost, unmoored, and disconnected. The Buddha taught that mindfulness is the very path to life itself, to living fully, vibrantly, and authentically. It is how we consciously, deliberately, and gently come back to the only place where true peace can never be found, the present moment, this moment, right now. Let's try a very brief mindfulness practice together. Gently close your eyes if you feel comfortable, or simply soften your gaze. Bring your awareness to the sensation of your breath. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. Feel the air as it enters and leaves your nostrils. Don't try to change your breath, just observe it. Notice if your mind wanders. When it does, gently, kindly, bring it back to your breath. There's no judgment here, just a gentle returning. When you bring your awareness to your breath, to your body, to the simple sensations of this moment. You are no longer living in someone else's world. You are no longer trapped in the old, limiting stories of not being enough or of needing to be different. You are simply here, alive, breathing. And in this moment, you are unequivocally enough. In that precious space of presence, the external noise begins to quiet down. The relentless pressure to compare, to achieve, to perform, it gradually fades. And you start to hear something softer, something truer, something deeply familiar. Your own inner voice, your own inherent wisdom. This is where genuine healing begins, not by fixing yourself, for you are not broken, but by gently, compassionately meeting yourself exactly where you are. Not by striving to become someone else, but by finally allowing yourself to be fully here, as you are, imperfections and all. Mindfulness doesn't mean that life suddenly becomes perfect or that challenges disappear. It means you are awake for it. You are no longer living on autopilot, merely reacting to everything that happens around you. You are choosing how to respond, with awareness, with clarity, with compassion. And the more you practice mindfulness, the more clearly you begin to see. You realize that comparison is just a thought, a fleeting mental construct. Jealousy is just a passing cloud in the vast sky of your mind. Fear is just a wave rising and falling in the ocean of your experience, and none of it is who you truly are. You are the awareness behind it all, the stillness beneath the storm, the quiet, unchanging space where peace patiently waits. Every single breath is a chance to return to yourself. Every moment is a doorway back to your inner sanctuary. So when you feel lost, when you feel overwhelmed, when the world feels too loud and demanding, pause. Come back to your breath. Come back to this moment. Come back to you. That is the path. That is mindfulness. That is the way home. There is a quiet, insidious poison that, unchecked, can spread through our hearts when we constantly compare ourselves to others. It's called envy. And most of the time we don't even fully realize it's there, operating beneath the surface. Envy is rarely loud. It doesn't always manifest as an outward shout of anger or resentment. It often comes as a soft, dull ache in the chest. A quiet, insidious feeling of, why not me? A small but sharp sense of lack, of deficiency, that arises when you see someone else succeed, shine, or simply radiate joy and contentment. And in that precise moment, your own hard-won peace, even if it was just a fleeting moment of calm, can instantly dissipate. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from craving and clinging, from our insatiable desires and our desperate attempts to hold on to things. And envy, at its core, is a profound form of craving. It's the craving to have what others have, to be who others are, to live a life that, fundamentally, is not yours. It's the desire to possess what isn't meant for you, or to inhabit a reality that is not your own. But here's what we often forget, in our human tendency to focus on externals. What we see in others is almost never the full picture. We see the carefully curated highlight reel, not the daily hardship. We see the magnificent achievement, not the crippling anxiety or the relentless effort that went into it. We see the blissful moment, not the entire, often arduous journey. And yet we so readily measure our own inherent worth, our own complex lives, against that tiny, often polished glimpse. This is precisely where suffering takes root. Because when you allow envy to grow, to fester in your mind, it begins to profoundly cloud your vision. You no longer see your own unique blessings, the gifts that are already present in your life. You stop appreciating your own distinct path,
your own incredible resilience, your own quiet victories. You lose touch with your own unique journey, a journey that is perfectly unfolding for you. And instead, you begin to desperately chase after shadows, after illusions of what you think happiness should look like. The Buddha, in his boundless wisdom, never condemned emotion. He didn't tell us to suppress or deny our feelings. Instead, he taught us to observe it, to sit with it, patiently and mindfully, to understand its true nature, its impermanence, its message. So, when envy arises, when that familiar pang of, "Why not me?" surfaces, don't fight it. Don't shame yourself for feeling it. Simply notice it. Acknowledge its presence. Take a deep, conscious breath, and then, gently, with a curious mind, ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to teach me? Often, perhaps surprisingly, envy isn't truly about the other person at all. It's a powerful signal from your own soul, a whisper showing you what you deeply desire, what values you hold dear, but perhaps have been afraid to claim for yourself. It's not a call to engage in a fruitless competition. It's a powerful call to awaken to your own unmet needs, your own silenced aspirations. Instead of letting envy harden your heart, letting it turn into bitterness or self-pity, let it guide you inward. What does this intense longing reveal about what truly matters to you? What part of yourself, what inherent talent, what dream have you been neglecting or suppressing? What unique dreams have you silenced in order to fit into someone else's prescribed story or perceived timeline? Jealousy becomes suffering only when we mistakenly believe we are not enough, when we measure our worth by external, unattainable standards. But the liberating truth is, your path was never, ever meant to look like anyone else's. You are here to live your life, with all its unique challenges and triumphs, not their life. When we return to the practice of mindfulness, to gentle, non-judgmental observation, we begin to soften. We remember that others are not our enemy. Their light does not, cannot dim ours. Their joy is not, cannot be our loss. There is abundant room for all of us to grow, to thrive, to shine, each in our own perfect time, each in our own unique way. And in that profound remembering, that acceptance, envy naturally fades. Gratitude, that powerful antidote, gently returns, and peace begins to bloom again, not from the outside in, but from the deep, fertile ground of your inner self. Let me share with you an ancient yet ever-relevant story from the Buddhist tradition, a story that has been told for centuries, passed down through generations, not merely to entertain, but to profoundly awaken us to a timeless truth. There was once a young monk named Sona. He was deeply, intensely devoted to his spiritual practice. He was disciplined, serious, and fiercely determined. More than anything, he wanted to reach enlightenment, and he wanted to reach it quickly. So he pushed himself relentlessly. He walked barefoot on rough, jagged stones until his feet bled. He meditated for hours upon hours without moving, denying himself rest. He denied himself food, comfort, and sleep, firmly believing that extreme struggle, severe asceticism, would somehow bring him closer to true freedom, to inner peace. But the harder he pushed, the more his body suffered. His mind, far from becoming peaceful, became restless, agitated, and overwhelmingly filled with self-doubt. He was exhausted, both physically and mentally. One day, utterly disheartened, Sona thought to himself, "I've given absolutely everything. I've pushed myself to the breaking point. Why do I still feel so incredibly far from peace? Why is liberation so elusive?" That night, sensing Sona's distress, the compassionate Buddha came to visit him. The Buddha, with his characteristic gentleness and wisdom, asked, "Sona, before you became a monk, weren't you a musician? "Did you not play the lute?" "Yes, master," Sona replied, a flicker of surprise in his weary eyes. The Buddha continued, his voice soft yet profound. "When your instrument's string is stretched too tight, what happens?" "It breaks, master," Sona answered immediately, the knowledge of his past skill resurfacing. "And when it's too loose?" the Buddha inquired further. "It won't play," Sona said. "It produces no clear sound." "And when the string is tuned just right?" the Buddha asked, a gentle smile gracing his lips. Sona, understanding dawning in his mind, replied, "It makes beautiful music, master." The Buddha smiled, his eyes full of compassion. "The path to awakening, Sona, is precisely the same. Not too tight, not too loose. It is the path of balance, of the middle way. Peace doesn't come from harshness, from self-punishment, or from rigid control. It comes from harmony, from tuning your own being. It comes not by fighting yourself or battling your human nature, but by truly understanding yourself, by listening to your own inner wisdom." Sona bowed deeply, tears welling in his eyes, as if a great weight had been lifted. From that day on, he practiced with a newfound gentleness, with a profound understanding of balance. He still meditated, he still walked, he still engaged in his spiritual training. But now, he did it from a place of presence, not frantic pressure, from a place of self-love, not self-force. And slowly, gently, his heart began to soften. His restless mind began to settle, and true, abiding peace found its way back in. Not as something he had to earn, but as something that simply emerged from within. This timeless story holds a powerfully relevant reminder for us today. We are often like Sona. We mistakenly think that to grow, to evolve, to find happiness, we must strive harder, push ourselves to exhaustion, or relentlessly compete. We believe that enlightenment, or genuine peace, is something we must earn through extreme struggle, through self-denial, or through being perfect. But the truth is, awakening isn't something far away, something to be achieved in the distant future. It lives right here, right now, in the exquisite balance of our efforts, in moment-to-moment awareness, and, crucially, in profound kindness to ourselves. The Buddha never told us to become perfect. He told us to become aware, to return again and again to the present moment, to the reality of what is, to observe our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations, without judgment, to walk the middle way, gracefully navigating between the extremes of self-indulgence and harsh asceticism. You don't need to punish yourself to be worthy of peace. You don't need to become someone else to be truly free. The light you are so desperately seeking is already within you. It might be covered, perhaps. It might be forgotten, obscured by the noise of the world, but it is never, ever gone. Like tuning the string of a precious instrument, your journey must be held with immense care. Not too hard, not too soft. Just enough to awaken the beautiful, unique music of your own soul. So often, in our modern world, we search for answers outside ourselves. We look to others for direction, for validation, for permission to simply be who we are. We wait for external circumstances to align, for someone to give us the green light. But the Buddha's timeless teaching has always, consistently, pointed in one clear, profound direction: inward. He said with powerful simplicity, "Be a lamp unto yourself. Rely on yourself. Do not depend on anyone else." This isn't a call to isolation or to disregard connection with others. Instead, it is a powerful, liberating call to awakening, to profoundly realize that you don't need to become someone else to be inherently worthy. You don't need to wait for the world or anyone in it to approve of you, to validate your existence, or to give you permission to shine. The truth, the peace, the radiant light you seek, it has always been and will always be within you. It is your birthright. Your mind, when seen clearly without the distortions of judgment and comparison, becomes your most insightful guide. Your breath, when followed gently, with conscious awareness, becomes your unshakable anchor in any storm. Your presence, when honored fully, with compassion and acceptance, becomes your sacred sanctuary, your safe haven, no matter what external chaos unfolds. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not lost in any fundamental sense. You are simply remembering what you've always known, but may have temporarily forgotten amidst the overwhelming noise and demands of the world. The comparison, the envy, the gnawing self-doubt, they are not who you truly are. They are merely passing clouds, fleeting conditions of the mind. And you are the boundless, unchanging sky itself, vast and eternal. The journey of life is not a frantic race to some finish line. It is a profound, unique path, a path meant to be walked at your own perfect pace, in your own distinctive way, guided by your own inner light. So, the next time you feel that familiar ache, that nagging feeling like you're not enough, the next time you catch yourself comparing your intricate, unfolding story to someone else's polished highlight reel, pause. Take a conscious breath and gently, compassionately, come home to yourself. That is the practice. That is the path. And in that simple, profound act of returning, you will find your deepest freedom. You are not here to be like anyone else. You are here to be fully, deeply, honestly, authentically you. And that is more than enough. You are your own light, and the world, in its deepest longing, needs you to shine. If this message resonated with something deep inside you, if it offered a moment of peace or clarity, please take a moment to like this video. Share your thoughts, your struggles, or your own insights in the comments below. I'd truly love to hear your story, to connect with you. And if you'd like to continue walking this path of healing, of awakening, and of self-discovery together, make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so we can meet again, right here, in peace. Until then, stay gentle, stay present, and above all, stay true to your own radiant light.